Hey, what's up, guys? It's something I haven't done before on camera, but this is a good friend of mine, Lance's, and he wants to bring it back to life. So I figured I would do kind of a video showing complete disassembly, rebuild, and then I might even do a tuning, because impulses are not difficult, but there's a little bit more to them than a normal marker, especially if you have the LPR. But the main thing is, like, your pressures don't really affect velocity. Your dwell does. So they're a little bit different. So I might do a video on that. But yeah, so we'll start with disassembly here. Typically take off this massive max flow. I know a lot of people are not fans of these regs. They're actually super consistent. Yeah, so I like max flows. You notice this little nut on here. So this is an adjustment so you can get your macro line in the correct area. So if you don't have to touch it and it's in a good area, I would typically just leave it there. And let's see. So I'm gonna want to undo these set screws here. Hopefully you can see. That should allow you to unscrew this. Sometimes these are pretty stuck. Got lucky with this one though. And you don't have to tighten those set screws overly. As you can see, this one's pretty clean there. All those set screws do is keep it from unscrewing. It actually, the O-ring is what seals it. So you do not need to jack down on those set screws. Then this set screw, after you make your adjustment, you'll typically want to lock that down, so just make sure you unscrew that before you try ripping it apart here. And this will unscrew. Alright, so there's your max flow bottom bits. This comes out of the top, right there, and that'll come out. I'll show you the direct order that these go in. And you might think you're done here, but if you look in there, that little piece does come out. Sometimes you can kind of fish it out really easy. But sometimes I like to stick either a pick or an Allen key in the bottom side here at an angle and try and push it out that way, because that one gets pretty stuck in place. There we go. So that pops out. Alright, so with every gun that I rebuild, I kind of draw a personal manual. So this is the vertical max flow layout here. So if we kind of line it up with this paper, obviously you have your top portion here. This piece goes here. Then you have your filter bit. And let's see. This goes down through the top. Spring goes here. This is that other piece that we had to push out is there. And then from here on are all bottom bits. So this piece, and you have your piston, spring, filter, washer. So this is kind of your layout here. I like rebuilding by part, so we'll go ahead and do it that way. Just want to make sure you kind of clean off everything decently, especially a gun like this that hasn't been touched since probably 2003. you see, these O-rings are just breaking at this point. And this piece, you might think that this little piece is non-replaceable, much like an angel reg or whatever. But these pieces do split apart, as you can see, standard O-ring in there. So I've talked to some people that have confused that with like a proprietary seal. It is not. Ugh, that's a gross O-ring. And this is also not proprietary. This is a 003 90 durometer. They're a bitch to get out, they're a bitch to get in, but it is a readily available O-ring to replace your reg seat. So these max flows, as big and clunky as they are fully rebuildable, which I'll always appreciate, because there's so many weird regs out there that once that reg seat goes bad, you're pretty much screwed. Don't really know what to say while I'm doing this part, but I don't want to like cut the video so you can see how it kind of is in real time. I'm actually probably going to be going slower than normal, but yeah. And be careful with this piece here. It is a separate piece. Flat piece goes down. Well, I guess the tapered flat piece goes down. The rounded end goes in here, right? Because this seals against this rounded piece. So, all right. Now, the reason I do this is just it's a simple manual that I can just pull out and grab the O-rings here. So. Should have been more prepared here. Alright, so obviously got a 0.15 on there. Then we need a 0.20. So that's done. 0.15, 0.20. And then we will go to this piece here, which you have a 0.13 on the outside, 0.09 on the inside. So 0.09 pops in there. pops around there. So now this piece is done. Obviously filter doesn't need anything. This doesn't need anything. So now we'll do this piece, which is a 009 inside there, and then it'll have a 0010 that it doesn't go into the piece, but it lays next to it. So we'll put this 10 over here to the side. Amazing. Take a 009. So that pops around the groove there. And then this pops on top. I'll wait to press it together because I do like to get some dough in there. And obviously this piece good. This one right here, you have a 003 inside here and a 014. And this is a 003 90 durometer. So tiny little O-rings, but they're harder than your standard. So these are kind of a pain in the ass to get in. That's why people hate them, and you can shred them while trying to put them in. What I typically like to do is I'll take the ball end of an Allen key and I'll try and get one edge started. This is going to be the hardest part of the entire rebuild. And then just kind of want to check that you got it fully inserted. So it's hard because it's such a hard O-ring, and it has to pop. You're not just placing it in there, it actually has to pop into a groove. But once I get it kind of in place, take a slightly bigger Allen key with a ball end, and I just kind of push it in there, make sure it's seated. You want to make sure you didn't cut any edges. So yeah, that's done, and obviously these don't need anything. So now we can actually reassemble the reg here. So HPR body, HPR body. So the first piece we will do, this piece, and said 009 inside there. Let's take some dowel. 33. Kind of go around the edge here. Just because you're not going to be getting in here that often, so just want to make sure it's lubed up, and it should clamp right in place pretty good. And as you can see, there's your seal. Originally it was a urethane O-ring from factory, but I've never had an issue using Buna in place of that. And inside the reg, this O-ring is going to be in here, because if you look down in the body, there's a little channel in there. So I'll kind of take some Dow, get this O-ring nice and good, and then kind of pop it down in there. And use an Allen key again. As you can see, pops right into that groove. Now you are going to pop this in there with the seal facing upwards, so towards you. Sometimes it's easier to kind of balance this on an Allen key here and then go over it, just so it doesn't flip. Which it is going to flip anyway. Use a bigger Allen key. I use Allen keys for everything. Okay, got it popped in there. So that little carrier is going to go over that O-ring, and you just want to make sure that it doesn't have to be super pressed in there, but you just want to make sure nice and seated. So you got the 0010, you got the 010 in there, and then we just put that carrier, the 09, over it. And now your pin here is going to go down, and that goes through that carrier. And now we are going to take the filter, and that goes over your pin. And then we are going to take this piece here. I want to call everything a piston. I'm not sure what the actual terms are from the gardeners there. And this pops on top of there, O-ring down. And you should feel kind of the springiness there. So everything's popped in place, and then we are going to put the top back on. Some of these max lows will have an Allen key insertion there, but this is a really early one, so it doesn't. You can go hand tight on these. You'll kind of feel when it stops, and you might have a set screw mark. So now that we got that in place, like I said, no need to over tighten these set screws. They don't do all that much. All right, now we're at the bottom portion, which you will take this piece 003 down, because that is what that pin on the other side seals against. Alright, so 003 down, pop that in there, and then your cap will go filter, washer, spring stack, and then this little piece pops on top. And as you can see, that's the piece that seals against here. So you're just going to screw that back on. And these are clockwise to turn up, counterclockwise to turn down. So I leave those pretty far back just so, you know, you'd hate to blow a solenoid. And we will go ahead and change the O-ring on this fitting as well, just because we're here. Which, on any standard fitting, this is just going to be a 010. So pop that O-ring in there, pop that in there, and max flow is done. I actually think I will do the rebuilds piece by piece. I think that makes more sense, easier to watch. So that'll be the vertical max flow rebuild. Yeah, so cool.